Hey, what's going on, my nerds and collectors alike? We are back at it again today, taking a look at the Infinity Saga wave Quicksilver from the Age of Ultron movie. Getting a closer look here, we have the Infinity Saga logo, Marvel Studios. Obviously this is Quicksilver, and up here it shows that it is from the Age of Ultron film. We have Quicksilver here in the bubble, alongside of his accessories here. Looks like we got some running hands, some Ultron pieces. Pretty cool. Down here, warning, these are for 4 and up. On this side of the packaging, we have one half of a little poster that they've got going on, as opposed to last time with the first 10 years series. This is not a collage, this is just half of a poster on each side, and it is static for each package. On the back here, we do have the Age of Ultron poster. We have some warnings here, and a short bio that reads, Quicksilver's ultra-high-speed capabilities are a major asset to the Avengers in the fight against Ultron. Until Ultron shoots him with a plane. So, on the bottom here, you got your warnings, barcodes, legalese, all that fun stuff. Don't stick them in your mouth. Let's go ahead and get this guy cracked open and see what he's about. Alright, so here we have Quicksilver out of the packaging, and clearly in a sprinting pose through some Ultron pieces here. Do be aware, it is kind of hard to get him to balance on here. I don't know if it's just because my review station is a little bit unstable or what, but he does have a good amount of articulation to get him into some running poses, so it quite frankly could just be my ability or my surface that I have him on. But we're going to go ahead and get him straightened out here. And move some of these accessories to the side. Let's get him in for some closer details. And as you can see, we do have his platinum blonde grayish hair, which seems to be a dark gray plastic that they heavily dry brushed a white or creamy white kind of color over top of for a nice effect there for how his hair was. We do get his facial hair painted nicely on here. I think this figure does offer a fairly good likeness to the actor who portrayed him. I cannot remember the name of the actor right now, so if you guys want to remind me down in the comments, that would be very much appreciated. But we do have a very nice likeness here. It is a little bit glossy, but that's just because of the face printing method that they use. Taking a look at the costume here, we do have his Under Armour-esque shirt with the blue highlights, the nice silver picked out. I do have a little bit of chewing on mine. This actually came like that out of the package, so I don't think that'll be on any of those. That is not from posing. It came out like that. We've got silver picked out across down here too, with a lighter blue meeting a darker blue. On the back there, we do have this little, kind of reminds me of a landing strip design, to be honest. And then we've got his running pants here. No idea what brand these are. We're just going to call them Avengers brand because they always have some interesting looking clothing. As you can see, there is a slight drop down joint there. Doesn't really drop down too far, so I'm not quite sure why they've got it. I guess it does give you a little bit of extra range, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. And down to his Adidas shoes there. Nice gray running shoes with the green bottoms. And that's where they've got some warnings and copyright and stuff. So at least, oh, nope. Was just about to say, at least it's not on the inside of the leg, but there it is. Haha. They gotcha. So, I guess we should go ahead and head into some articulation. Starting at the top of the head here. This is a dumbbell joint. Just in a softish rubber there. And just like on the Retro Series Spider-Man figure, you do have a little bit of a divot, so that way you can get him looking forward more. So we'll go ahead and pop that head back on there. This dumbbell joint does work fairly well. As you can see, we do get some nice tilt on both sides. Doesn't look down too far, but you can still have him looking down. Obviously, he can look up very far thanks to the nice little dip in the back of the neck there. And what's nice is when he's looking straight, the hair actually covers that dip, so you don't really notice it too much. So that's a very nice touch. Dumbbell joint definitely works very well on this one. We have a hinge at the shoulder, which brings it up to 90. Same as this side, although this side is a little bit stiffer. So bring that up to 90. We do have bicep rotation. Arm spins 360. Once again, it would have been nice to see a butterfly joint on this guy. Maybe have him shoulder rushing an Ultron or something like that. But, you know, we get what we get. We do have double jointed elbows that bend in really nice. You can actually get it just a little bit further there. There we go. Bend in pretty good there. And as you can see, we do have pinless joints on this figure, which is always a very nice touch. His wrists here, swivel 360, and hinge in and out. They also do the same on the fists that are included here. And a detail that I did not mention, so on the fists here you can see that it is a standard fingerless glove. But what's interesting is on the running hands here, you can see that there is an elongated finger slot there, but the rest of that just looks like a sleeve. So that's interesting. So he's got fingerless gloves on his fisted hands there, which if you look even closer, that detail, let's see here, the detail is only sculpted on the index finger, and the rest of the fingers should be painted with flesh tone. So just a factory thing there, I suppose, but that's just interesting to see that they did it on the running hands and not the fisted hands. But continuing articulation, so he has a diaphragm joint that will bend him forward a decent amount for a diaphragm joint. He's got a decent crunch out of that. And then he also crunches back. Not very far at all. It basically just keeps him straight. We do have some tilt there. And now this could also swivel. But we do also get a waist swivel that's cut at the shirt and the pants there, which is interesting that we have a waist swivel and a diaphragm. I would have preferred to see the diaphragm with an ab crunch hinge or something like that, but I guess we get what we get. Without the drop down hip, he kicks forward that far, and then dropping that down a little bit, he kicks forward ever so slightly more, so he can reach 90. Interesting fact there that when you're using the drop down and you kick forward, you do need to swivel at the thigh to make that look like a proper kick there. And as I said, these barely go up. They're kind of just always in the drop down state. So don't know if mine's just stiff and I need to work it a little bit more, or if that's just how it's designed, but who knows. He cannot kick back at all. He kicks out that far without the drop down, and then obviously with the drop down it looks a little bit less. So he kicks out that far. He does have a thigh swivel, as previously mentioned. We do get pinless knees that are double jointed. Sadly, he will not be kicking his own ass or his back, but that's still a pretty good bend. And of course, we do get a hinge at the ankle that goes back a decent amount. You can slide it over that sculpt a little bit, but there's also a sculpted lip right there, so that does end up hindering his front kick, which could be another reason why it's a little bit difficult to get this guy into a running pose. You don't get too much to work with forward hinge. So what I might do, I might just take a knife and try to cut a little bit of an extra slit in there, just kind of right along the hinge, and then cut a little bit more room out of that. We'll see at a later date. Also, yeah, mine, the left foot here likes to pop off. So it's not broken, it's just not a secure peg, I guess. It doesn't just like fall off, but when you go to articulate it, it does try to pop off quite a bit. And you can push that back on there, but then at the same time, then you don't get the overlay. So there you go. There's that. And obviously with that, he has an ankle hinge. I'll go ahead and show you with the other foot because that's going to annoy me if it keeps doing that. So he has ankle pivot and a hinge. Same thing on this one though. It's hindered right there. So that kind of sucks. The likeness of the figure is pretty good, but the articulation does leave some bits to be desired. Accessory-wise, he does come with pieces of an Ultron drone. So we get a drone head here with a spine, and these seem to be molded in maybe a gunmetal color. I'm not quite sure. It looks like they might be molded in black, just with a very heavy metallic dry brush across all of them. Either way, they do look very nice. It would be actually pretty cool to see if later down the line they come out and give us an Ultron drone, maybe as one of those $15 build-up figures, kind of like how they do with the comic series, how they have the army builder packs. It would be cool to see an Ultron drone come out, because here we have a torn up chest piece, which does sit like this, because you can see right there is actually the shoulder, so that would be the diaphragm that got ripped in half. So right there's the shoulder, and then this spine would just go all the way down, kind of like that. Which, yeah, obviously that looks a little bit odd, but I don't think these are all pieces from the same drone. They're just kind of there to litter around him to make it look like he's been running through drones. But these pieces are very nice. You get an arm, neck, and a head, and a torso piece. And the only other accessories he comes with are the set of fists, which are easy enough to swap out. Just as always, unpeg them, plug the new ones in. They fit real nice, nice secure fit. So if you want them throwing some dukes, you can always have them doing that. And we'll go ahead and swap the other side, just because. Go ahead, port that in there, and there you go. And we've got Pietro standing straight up here for some size comparisons. Probably help if I got him a little more in frame. There you go. So, first things first, here he is with the closest we've gotten to an Age of Ultron figure. This is the Infinity War pack version of Scarlet Witch, but she also wore this outfit at the end of Age of Ultron and in Civil War, so there's that. And here's the most recent Hawkeye figure we have. So there he is next to Hawkeye and his sister Wanda. He is taller than Wanda even when she's wearing her heeled boots. And he is a little bit shorter, ever so slightly shorter. They're basically the same exact height as Clint there. Clint being the father-esque figure for Wanda, who kind of gets her to join the Avengers, and Pietro's already kind of helping there. She was just too nervous to go in. But without Clint, neither of these two would actually end up having been on the team. So that's cool to see that he kind of brought them in. We'll go ahead, and we don't know if we will be seeing Quicksilver again, but we do have the multiverse opened up and all that fun stuff. So there he is next to his sister in her new costume from WandaVision. And clearly she's no longer wearing heels. She is about a head shorter than her brother Pietro there. That's a pretty good size. They do look very nice together. It would be cool to see him pop up again. Maybe played by the Fox X-Men Pietro, but who knows? Wishful thinking. Maybe they'll bring him back and just give him a better story arc. But we will see. And last but not least here, we've got him standing next to Ultron, and he basically is at Ultron's bicep. So it's cool to see how much taller Ultron is than him, and that is the Ultron Prime before he has the vibranium attached to him. So that's like Ultron Prime 1.0. We never really got an Ultron Prime figure, so that would also be cool to see if they went back and gave us maybe an Ultron Prime. Probably a different body, though, because this body does feel kind of creaky and not as quality as a lot of the other figures that we've gotten afterward. I know this was originally a Build-A-Figure, so maybe that's why, but so that's cool to see. Final thoughts on Pietro. I feel like a speedster should have an easier time getting into a running pose, which does mean some of the articulation leaves a bit to be desired. I do still like him, though, and it definitely is a figure that we've needed. We've needed this character since Age of Ultron. But I'm kind of glad that we got him now, because if we did get him back then, he wouldn't even be as good as this figure is. And overall, he does cut a nice silhouette. He looks very proportionate, at least. And a running pose is doable. It just takes a little bit of work. Plus, we have the nice new pinless technology, and the new face printing, and the new dumbbell joints, and all that good, fun, extra stuff. So overall, I do like the figure a lot. I think if you are a big MCU collector, and you're missing the Pietro gap, or you just really like the character, definitely worth the pickup. Before we go, I do want to say that this channel and all of its content is not for anyone below the ages of 13 years old. You know, YouTube guidelines always updating and changing, so you gotta make sure everybody knows. Happy collecting, everybody. Stay safe.